There are tons of books and vague information on what it takes to start your fashion brand out there. But on this podcast, I intend to share experiences and wisdom from what worked and what didn't when it comes to starting your own brand. Welcome to the Fashion Designer Podcast with T. So, this is part one of starting in the fashion industry. I'm going to share, like I said, the ins and outs of what you should be looking for if you decide to start your own fashion brand. Just for context, I've worked in women's wear since 2015, 16. Fully 2016, I started working in women's wear, but 2015 is when I was like, okay, this is for sure what I wanted to do. So, take this as someone who has, tried, failed at certain things and, is really there to give you the inside scoop. So, the first thing you have to think about when you want to start your own fashion brand is why. What is your purpose? Like, why do you really want to start this brand? If it's not something that is outside of money, you would stop doing it when you don't make money. I don't know if that makes sense, but you can't just start a brand, just because you hear it's lucrative, you hear, there's money in this business, because when you don't make money, you're actually going to give up on it. Like, if the money drives you, the absence of money will make you stop. So you have to think about, why do I want to do this thing? It's an industry that will always be relevant forever and ever. It would always be relevant. Even before we had fabrics, we had, like, I don't know what they were wearing in millions of years ago, if you believe in that. Or you're a Christian and you believe in, the Garden of Eden, where, they had, like, leaves or whatever they used to cover themselves. I don't know what that story is like, but we've always looked for something to cover ourselves. And from a farmer to a CEO to the butler to the person who drives you to your parents to the person you like at school, the person you don't like, everyone owns multiple article of clothing. And even to think about the enormity of the contribution of this fashion industry, you have to understand that your addition to the industry should be a positive one. It should be something that, it's for a good cause, not just to ride the bandwagon of, I started my brand, I'm making X amount of dollars. What is the actual reason behind you creating something? Because it's very important. The possibilities are endless, but the most important thing is to have a why. Why did you decide to start this brand? Why did you decide, of all the other industries you can go into, why did you decide to start with the fashion industry? So, what? What's next? You have to think about your target and your niche market. What designs do you have in mind that you think the world could use? What area of clothing do you want to focus on? Are you thinking about women's wear? Are you thinking about men's wear? Are you thinking about kids? Are you thinking about babies? Are you thinking maternity? What sector in the industry do you want to focus on? Are you thinking formal wear? Are you thinking casual, bridal, athleisure, sports? There's a ton of places you can go when you already know why you want to do this. When you know your why, it helps you with your what. Like, what are you producing? When you know why you want to do something, it's very important. Otherwise, you just keep throwing bunch of darts at anything to see which one sticks. So you have to know, what's your target market, what niche in the industry are you going to focus on. There is nothing absolutely new under the sun, but what are you fine tuning? What are you making better? What are you making fit better? Are you adding technology to how, you come up with the way your fabric is made? What are you adding? Are you sourcing new ideologies on what can be used to make certain things look good across the, all the sizes that are available? What are you doing differently? When you know your what, it really, really solidifies and anchors your brand as as starting in the industry, because then people gravitate towards you. Think about it. There's hundreds of millions of brands already out there. Why would somebody say, let me spend my money with this person? Why would anyone want to have brand loyalty with you? You have to think about what makes you unique, what makes you different. And this kind of leads into the next thing, which I want to talk about, and that's skills. Are you self taught? Are you outsourcing? Will you be the one designing? Will you designate roles? What are you really good at? You just have ideas that you can talk about, but you can't even sketch. So you have to think about putting the appropriate, staff in place. You have to think about who is going to be your designer. This doesn't have to be a big deal. Trust me. You can find somebody who you know is good at sketching, tell them your ideas, look at it on paper. If it looks good on paper, then you know you're at least starting somewhere. Somebody gets your idea. It's not just floating in your head. So it's really important to know what skills do you personally have and what are you going to be outsourcing. Some people are very blessed and very lucky. They can do a lot of things in this chain of starting their own brand. But some people are just, good with creating the idea. Like they just have the creativity to bring something in their head to life. And they need to hire people along the way to see that to fruition. So you have to be honest with yourself. What skill sets do you already have? Are you self-taught? If you're self-taught, like are the techniques you're using good for commercial, products? Are they good for mass production? Are they good for, even if you're producing two garments of the same type, are they good for bespoke, not just what you want to wear? You have to think quality over speed. Do not rush this process. It's very important. Don't run to be that brand who is just chugging out designs, chugging out dresses, chugging out suits, chugging out things every single day of the week. What is the quality you're giving your customers? Do you want them to buy something that they can pass on to siblings, pass on to children, or you want them to spend money and once it's in the wash, they know it's gone, and that way they're not even going to want to come back? Because there's certain brands out there now that make billions of dollars a year, but they chug out bad quality clothes because of that, and they make it so cheap. So you have to decide for yourself, what kind of brand are you starting? What is your purpose? It goes back to what is your purpose? What target are you looking for? Like, why are you doing this? What target is my focus point? Like, what am I targeting in this industry? And then I know my skills. I know, okay, this is what I'm good at. Maybe you're even a tech person. Maybe you're good at marketing. Maybe you're good at advertising, but you just have a thing, like you have that thing that's just burning inside you to be in the fashion industry. Just know that you have to outsource your weaknesses and, focus more on your strengths. Don't try to do everything. Determine that what can be done will be done in a good and healthy time frame, as opposed to chugging things out just because you want things out. Think about this. The next thing you want to think about is sourcing. When it comes to sourcing, it takes a bunch of things to make one garment. You just don't sketch and the fabric comes from somewhere. You have to test the type of fabric you're using, the trims that go on the fabric, the threads, the machines that are used on there. Are you going to be the one going about looking for someone who can help you do these things, or you already have knowledge on those things? It helps a lot to make a list of your strengths so you can know what you're looking for out there. Otherwise, you get to places where you share your information or you share your ideas with people who are well meaning, but it can cost you so much money, because they're just, offering the contracts to people that they already know who can charge whatever they want to charge, as opposed to you looking for people who are in the beginning phase with you. As you grow, of course, you want to get better and use high quality networks of, staff and stuff. But for the beginning part of it, just the beginning phase, where are you sourcing your fabric from? Do you have any idea about fabric stretch, fabric, retention, the durability, when it washes, how does it wash? Does it fade? Is it waterproof? You have to think about these things. It's good to have ideas and designs in your mind, but you also have to have fabric knowledge and trim knowledge, because those things will help you Also, when you get to the point where you start with pricing, if you have a taste for very expensive fabric and that's what works for your designs as a brand, your prices and profit margins, you really have to do some work in there so you can stay afloat. Otherwise, it could get really expensive. So when it comes to sourcing, you have to think about the fabric knowledge, your trim knowledge, the testing of the fabric, where are you getting all these things from? How much fabrics do you want to order to start with? You only need to start with something that you can use for your samples. Are the fabrics reorderable? Are you getting dead stock? So dead stock is when you order whatever is left from the company that sells, the fabrics on the bolts, on the roll. And once it's gone, it's gone. So it's like limited quantity of merch you can make from those fabrics, because once it's gone, they really don't make it again. Or are you getting fabrics that are reorderable from reliable vendors? These are all things you have to keep in mind when you're sourcing fabrics for your brand, because they're very important. They will all come in handy for you when you start to do your costing. Thank you so much for listening to this first episode of the Fashion Industry Podcast with T. On the next episode, we'll be talking about manufacturing, sample making, your packaging, name, price point, marketing, and just a bunch of other things that I think would be very relevant to you starting your business. Thank you once again, and I'll see you in the next episode.